Day one of the NHL Draft has wrapped up. The Avs came into the day with picks 27 and 31. Megan, we didn't know if they were going to keep them, move them, what they were going to do. They end up holding on to both of them, making both selections. And regardless of how you feel about if the Avs should have traded them, kept the picks, whatever, you have to be happy in a vacuum with the players they got at both 27 and 31.
Absolutely. Are you happy?
I would have rather seen them move the picks, get some more immediate help. If that wasn't an option, they couldn't get it done, couldn't find a dance partner, whatever it is. The picks themselves, I think they're both solid selections that late in the first round.
I didn't mean to put you on the spot like that. No. I think we've had time to process too, because leading up to it, it really did feel like something was brewing, and I think the disappointment in the moment wasn't met with quite the right response, because in seeing both of these players, I honestly had them projected higher than when they actually were taken.
And we've had several people say stuff like that.
And the Avs restore some defensive prospects back to their prospect pool. That is so important, and he's going to be a player that already stylistically plays similar to how the Avs want to play. There's obviously some things to work on in his game in Gulyayev, but we talked about Calum Ritchie as well. Physically imposing player, likes to find offense and create. These are guys that already on paper sound like they play the way the Avs like them to play.
Yeah, like I said, we've seen some kind of mixed responses online when you're looking at picking at 27 and 31, not considering did you trade, did you whatever. I think you like the picks. We did talk to Chris McFarland after the draft, asked him, was that ever on the table? Was that something you explored? And he gave the cliche, well, we looked at all of our options. We tried to do this, tried to do that. But he did mention a little bit of what you were talking about. The closer and closer it got to picks 27 and 31, he said we were realizing that there are people on our board that are going to be there. He didn't name any one particular, but saying we have a cluster of players we know we'll like, and we know one of them is going to be there. So it just, I don't doubt that they were maybe working the phones, seeing what other teams were interested, but as the day went on, they said a couple guys that we really like are going to be there. We're just going to make the picks. And to your point, who says they don't move one of these guys in a year or two? They're restocking those cupboards in maybe a little bit of a different way than just using draft capital.
And I want to shout out too with Gulyayev, there's a little bit of a risk there in uncertainty of when he's going to come to Colorado to play. And I think that it speaks to that there is a little bit of risk in picking this player, but there's hope of high reward. And that's something to be obviously a little bit curious about, but also excited about in this prospect. And then for Ritchie, like you said, we don't know what comes next for these players. We're not expecting to see them in the NHL necessarily anytime soon, but the Avs prospect pool needed to be replenished, generally speaking, and they received some picks back. They didn't send them a different way, so now we have some players to look forward to.
One other quick note on Calum Ritchie, the player the Avs took at 27. He had a procedure done on his shoulder about 6 weeks ago, he said. So he said he will be at Dev Camp next week, but he is unsure if he will be healthy enough to be on the ice. And Savior, he sounds like an Av already jokes. We know, we've already seen him on Twitter. But so either way, we'll get to talk to both these guys up close next week when they arrive to Denver. I think you have to be happy overall with the selections they made. They went from having one late round pick, didn't even know if they were going to make it, to coming out of this round, coming out of this day with 2 first round prospects. So Avs start to replenish that pool a bit, get a couple players that slid maybe a little further than most thought. Overall, good day one here. We'll be back at it bright and early tomorrow.